Hello. So this is going to be basically a reading wrap up of what I read in January, but it's going to also be categorized by books I read for BABE, which is a book event I'm hoping to go to in 2025. So this is a indie romance book event, and you can go and get books signed and stuff. So I'm wanting to do a bunch of reading in preparation for that, and so I thought it'd be fun to like catalog what I've read. I thought it'd be fun for all of us because like we can like reflect back when I go, and you know, we can discuss like what I'm gonna actually get to take to get signed and what I'm not, and just like I don't know, chat about the books. So this is basically just a reading wrap up. So if you don't care about BABE but you want to hear me chat about books I've read, you can still watch this video, but of course if you're also interested in that, there's that added bonus. So yeah, we're just going to talk about the books. They were interesting. There was definitely a lot of interesting books that I read. So I'm gonna try and be not completely savage, but man, it was a lot. Where do I begin? I'll talk about Frost K. So Frost K is one of the only authors going that I've read from before. I think there's only like one or two. No, there's at least two because I've read from Sarah Kate. It's not good. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. So yeah, I read some more Frost K because I've already read her books and know I like them. So I just made more progress on the Armian, is that how I pronounce it? Series. So this fantasy like new adult romance. The first book is like this rebel that like becomes like a spy and goes into like infiltrate the palace, but she ends up getting captured, and it's kind of like goes from there. She like has a romance with one of the princes, but it's very slow burn, which I really liked. I thought the romance was a very nice slow burn because I like slow burn, but a lot of the time it's not really slow burn. But this took a while to actually progress. Like it took place over multiple books before they sort of actually did anything, which I really liked. I'd already read the first two books, so this month I read 3 and 4, which is Enemy's Queen and King's Warrior. I don't think I'm going to get these books signed, or I don't think I'm going to buy them to get signed, unless her other books are worse, and this ends up being my favorite thing. But I have a feeling I'll like her other stuff a little bit more. I think this might be her first series, I'm not sure. But like, it's good, but I think again, they'll be better by her, and I'm not going to get like every book she's ever written signed because that's just too much. I do enjoy these, like they're still fun. Book 3, so Enemy's Queen, was really fucked up. So lots of content warnings for SA. Like I could barely get through it. I could barely stomach it. I'm surprised I actually finished it. Like there was so many points where I just wanted to DNF it. I also feel like there was just this really unnecessary like cringe, awkward like romance in this book. She had another romance and it was just so bad, and I was like, this is so unnecessary, and also makes like zero sense to her character. It really made zero sense for like majority of people to actually fall in love with this person in this space. Like it was just ridiculous, and I just didn't buy it like at all, and I hated it. So like I didn't really enjoy that book. I think I gave it like 3 stars because I think it was still interesting. I don't know, I feel bad giving like a 2.5 because like it was too dark for me, you know. But King's Warrior was a bit better. I gave that 3.5, but even that one I feel like was a little bit fillery. I think book 2 is my favorite so far. I really liked that one, but I'm reading at the moment book 5 and I'm quite enjoying that one as well. So yeah, like this series is fine. I don't know, it doesn't like fully go there for me, but it's still good. And like the main character is a little bit of a special snowflake, but I do still really like her. But I find at times I am a bit like, okay, we get it. She's like the best thing that's ever happened since like canned cheese. I say that, but I've never had canned cheese, but I just always think about that guy in the Goofy movie eating the canned cheese.
Cheddar! Oh! Cheddar, where's it? It's pretty scrumptious.
And it just looks like the most delicious, amazing thing ever. And I just crave canned cheese every day, even though apparently it's really disgusting. But in that movie, it looks like the best thing ever. So whenever I use that analogy, I'm always going to use canned cheese because there's nothing better than watching that guy eat the canned cheese. Okay? Don't ask me to explain why. It just is. It's just how it is. I'm looking at the books and I'm like, where do I even go next? Like, oh my god. I'm trying not to be too savage in these videos as well. Okay, we'll go with The Wrong Bride next. I was really looking forward to this, but didn't really like it that much. The author of this book is stunning, so I want to meet her. So I want to actually meet her either way, so I'm hoping one of her books will at least be a hit for me that I'll buy and get signed. Yeah, I just didn't really like this. Like the premise sounded so good, but it wasn't done in a way that I enjoyed. So it's basically this girl's been in love with this guy, but he's like betrothed to her sister, and then the sister runs away on the wedding day, and so she ends up taking the place of the sister. It sounded so good because I love romances where someone has been like pining for this person for years and then they finally start to notice them, it is just so satisfying and I love it. It's one of like my favorite tropes. I don't know what it's called. If you know what that trope's called, please let me know because I love it. This went in a way that I didn't enjoy. So basically it's like an arranged marriage, and so he was meant to actually marry the main character. He ended up falling in love with the other sister, and so they ended up getting betrothed. But the sister was like an actress and he had helped her get that position because of his family, and so she didn't want to seem like a nepo baby, or like she got the position because of who she was with, so she's never like come out about them being together, and so she keeps like putting off the wedding, and then she puts it off again and the family's like, fuck this, you can marry the other sister. I don't know, like the beginning was really good because I actually really enjoyed how she approached it, because she was like, you know what, this is my chance, this is finally my chance, I'm not gonna wallow and be like, he's only with me because he has to be, like, this is my chance to win him over, like I can win his heart now. But then like she got like really wishy-washy, I don't know, she got like really passive after that. Like she was like such a badass in that first scene, but then yeah, she became like super passive, and it was just like there was so much drama. Like the other sister kept getting involved and she was like toxic as fuck. Like his attraction to her was like super instant, which I just found really weird, and it just meant that the pining just like wasn't satisfied at all, because it was like, okay, we've built this up that she has been pining for years, and then he just like instantly is like super into her, and it was just like, I don't know, they got together like super early, and then I don't know, he was so bland. Like he was just like the cliche, I will be, you know, loyal to you and your husband, and he like, it was good what he was doing, but I felt like that's all he was, and I was just like, you're a wet blanket.
Do a backflip.
Like, I don't know, I just didn't really enjoy it, so I'm hoping I'll like more books in this series, or more books that she's written, but that one wasn't really it for me, unfortunately. I think I gave it 3 stars. Like it wasn't terrible, but just not for me, I guess. Then we'll do Lady of the Underworld, which I did quite enjoy. I think I gave this 3.5 or 4 stars. So this is a Hades and Persephone retelling, as you can probably tell, which I haven't read many of those, but I've read like a few, so you know, just putting that out there. So she is like a florist, and she is doing like the flowers for this funeral, and she like can see like the man that's, sorry, I just did a really creepy little lick my lip, you probably didn't see it, but I've got like these sores on my mouth, like in here. I don't know why, and they're really sore and I keep licking them, but it probably looks really creepy, so I should probably like not just be like, anyways. Oh god, okay. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so she can like see the guy that's like dead, like it's his funeral, and she's like, oh my god, he's here. And then this other guy comes and she's like, who the fuck's this? And the guy's like trying to coax the spirit to the underworld, well, the afterlife, and he can't do it because he's like not listening to the spirit. And so she like listens to him and helps him pass through, and the guy ends up being Hades, of course, and he's like, you shouldn't be able to see that, but also, do you want to help me, because I have lost touch with how to like actually coax souls that won't come to the afterlife, because I'm so out of touch because I've been doing it for so long. Which I think is great, because it's like any job where you do it for a certain amount of time and then you just don't give a fuck anymore, and then like the new people come in and they're like, oh, I care so much, like why are you not caring? And it's like, give it 2 years and then you'll be like me. So I think that was really funny when she like actually gave a shit, and he was like, after like all of these years, like hundreds of thousands of years or whatever, he's like, I just don't care anymore. Yeah, that I thought that was kind of cute. It was like because I feel like Hades and Persephone is quite like a dark retelling, but I feel like that was quite wholesome. And then it's got like reincarnation and stuff involved, and it was quite interesting. I just feel like the romance progressed pretty quick, which I feel like is gonna end up being a problem for a lot of these books for me, is that the romances progress very quick. I prefer more of a slow burn. Unfortunately, that's something I'm kind of going through with a lot of these books, but I just read one yesterday. Sorry, I keep burping and it's like really heinous, I'm sorry. But I read a book yesterday, well I finished it yesterday, and that was really slow burn, and I loved that. So that was very exciting. I was like, oh my god, man, I finally like really like. Then I read, I'm talking as if these are in order, they're not, they're just in whatever order I find them in my list. So okay, bitter notes. This is where things get a little bit much for me. So this is a why choose, which if you don't know what why choose is, basically reverse harem, but I've heard that people don't really like that term, so I'm gonna use why choose because I think that's a great term. So I like that sort of thing, and I liked a lot of this. This book, okay, I just want to clarify that I'm not making fun of it because it's why I choose, because I really enjoy those, and I've been reading quite a few for this and I'm quite enjoying that aspect. This book was just crazy for other reasons. So it's about this chick, gosh, I read this so long ago now, like a month ago, but still. I'm trying to remember. I think she either owns or works at this bar. well, she's there in some capacity, but I don't know if she like owns it or just works there. And anyway, she helps get this band to play at the bar who are like really big and up and coming. And it turns out she like had a childhood love with like I think he's the lead singer. Anyway, he's in the band. And when he realizes who she is, they like instantly like hook up. It's very gritty. It was quite hot, but but she also has a romance with all the guys in the band, and she's like helping them to like get to Battle of the Bands because she wants to be like a band manager, and her father, who she's like estranged from, is like a famous band manager or something. So she's like, I want to prove myself that I can do this without his name. So it's like really, like, it was quite good. Like, she had romance with all of them, and they all had different dynamics. It was really cute, and like the way they all just like really loved her, and like it wasn't like this competition. It was really cute. But then the last, like, I don't even know if you'd say third, maybe just the last quarter was insane. It was like every single dramatic thing that you can imagine happened. Like literally someone died. Like literally just like everything dramatic that could happen happened. And like I was like telling people while I was reading it, like, oh my god, this thing's now happened. This thing's now happened. I'm like, oh my god, you would not believe that this thing has now happened. And I'd be like, now this thing is happening. And everyone's like, how is this all happening? I'm like, I don't know. Like it feels like I've made it up, but I haven't. It's like literally happening. Anyway, it was hilarious. It was like literally the most dramatic thing I've ever read in my entire life. Like, I was insane. The author was just like, you know, I'm gonna pop off in these last like 100 pages. Like, this book's gonna go fucking off. It's like, okay, go off, queen. Like, you do you. But yeah, it was way too ridiculous for me. Like, I like, it was funny. It was like the most entertaining, hilarious thing I've ever read. But it was also just like, is the author of this book okay? Does she know what pacing is? I don't know. It was crazy. But honestly, like, the plot twist at the end was fucking great. So I'm excited for the next book. I'm totally gonna read it. Even though people are like, you shouldn't bother with that. I'm like, I absolutely will be. There's no way I'm not finishing this. I believe it's just a duology. So yeah, I don't know. Let's just move on. Okay, speaking of not being too mean, I also have to not be too mean about this book, which was Tainted Wings, which was another way I choose that was also just crazy. But this one was crazy the whole time, so I feel like this one was paced better in that I knew what I was getting into right from the beginning, and I will get into that, and it just continued the whole way through. So this one was a little bit more like, I don't know, paced better, and you knew what you were getting. But I think I gave this one a 3, Tainted Wings. So this one's like about this girl that like is like Satan, like Mr. Morningstar's son, and then her mother is like this angel, and so she has like a black wing and a white wing, and so she's like lived in hell her whole life and studied at that academy. When she turns 18, her father's like, you need to go study at the Angelic Academy for like 2 years until you turn 20, and then you can come back and help me rule. I don't really remember why she has to. I'm sure the author made up some reason, but we all know it's just so that there can be a plot. So she goes there and she's like a mate in hell. It's like her best friend's her mate. And I don't know why, maybe his name was Leo, I can't remember, but I always picture him as like a lion shifter. But he's like a succubus. He's not even like anything to do with lions, but in my memory, he is a lion. Like, I think of her childhood friend and I think of him in like a lion form. And it's like, he literally is a succubus. Like, he's got nothing to do with lions. Was his name Leo, maybe? Because like, literally... That's what I picture. It's so dumb. So yeah, she leaves her succubus mate behind and goes to the Angelic Academy, and she's staying with her mother, and her mother has remarried, and of course her mother's husband has a son who is her stepbrother at the same age. So of course that's happening. But of course he also has just 2 friends living in the house. Like, these 2 other guys just live in this house, because of course. So her first night in this house, I'm not even kidding, it's her first night there. She walks in on a guy, like one of the guys going to town on this chick, like going down hard on this random chick, and she just like stands in the door and keeps watching, and he sees her and he just like goes harder at it, and she just watches till he finishes, and then he smirks at her, and then she leaves. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I know what I'm getting into. But I honestly didn't yet. Like, I should have known that this was just gonna be ridiculous, but I didn't know from that scene quite how ridiculous, because then I kept reading, and then she goes into the shower and touches herself over what she just saw, and then another one of the guys walks in and sees her doing that and watches. So I was like, okay, now I know what I'm getting. And then of course the other guy, which I think the one that does this is the stepbrother, he like walks in on her getting undressed, or like getting dressed, whatever. He sees her naked in her room, and it's just like, come on. Like, it's the first night. Anyway, she ends up like becoming mates with this other guy that I think ends up being like the stepbrother's half brother, I think. I don't know. It was just it was wild. If you like dramatic books where like everything is happening and there's lots of drama and lots of sex, then you'll enjoy this. I was a little bit overwhelmed. It's why I choose again, because she has like the two mates. But again, there's something that happens near the end that was a plot twist, and now I kind of want to keep reading. But I was thinking about this book, it would have been really fun if she was like really a bitch. Like she really was like, I want to be in hell, I want to rule hell with my father, like I'm a horrible person. And she has to then go to this like angelic academy. And like it would have been great if she was like, yeah, like fully just like Satan's child, you know. And then she goes here and there's all these like angelic men. And I'm like, why couldn't, like, it would have been hilarious if she got to the house and they all just like mated with her instantly. And they're like these angelic angels that are like, oh my God. And like, you know, want to protect her and like really good people. And like, I could just picture her being like wanting to do bad things to people and they just like stop her and they're like, no, don't do that. And she's like, fuck off. That would have been hilarious. But everyone was just like wet blankets and just like, yeah, okay, let's move on. Like no shame if you like these books. Like I do still enjoy them. Like I'm not like these are terrible. They're just like a little bit too much for me, but like I can see the appeal and like I'm still having a great time. Like it's like in my head I'm like, these are kind of like not great to me, but like I'm still having a good time. And it's kind of like Zodiac Academy. Like they're just fun books that I can just like have a good time with, and honestly I've really needed that lately, so I'm very appreciative for these books and I appreciate what these authors are doing, and that's why I really want to read a bunch of these and then go and support them because they're working really hard at this stuff and it brings people joy. Like it's brought me a lot of joy. And then the last book I read, I think I've only got one left, was Off to the Races, which is by Elsie Silver. So Elsie Silver's probably like the biggest author going, I would say. Either her or like Abby Glines, which I've never read an Abby Glines. I'd never read an Elsie Silver till this book. So this was part of the Spa Book Club, which is on Facebook. I can link it if you want. So we're just like, a bunch of us are just reading books from authors for Babe. I think the goal is to read a book by every author. I'm not going to try and do that because there's a lot of authors that only have like ebooks that are really long and like mafia romance I'm not interested in kind of thing. So I'm only going to read what I'm interested in, and so this was the Elsie Silver they picked. I don't think I'll continue with this because it involves horse racing, which I just hate. I don't condone that. I don't like it. I just hate it so much. So while I was reading this book, like it did take away enjoyment for me and it made me not really want to continue because I think they all involve horse racing. Like they loved the horses and they treated the horses well, and there's even a scene where she like kicks the ass of this guy that doesn't treat the horse well. But I'm still like, you're still participating in an industry that like abuses and uses animals for human entertainment. Like it just like didn't compute for me. But yeah, like I still like the romance was cute. It's like this chick that, I don't know, she goes to like train this horse at this place, and the horse, of course this horse is like untrainable, but she can train the horse, and like she has a romance with the guy that like runs the ranch or something. I barely remember this because I was just kind of like, the whole time I was just like, but I hate horse racing, and I probably just shouldn't have read it. But I think I gave it like 3 stars. Like it was cute. I think this is like her debut. I'm going to read more by her for sure, but I don't think I'll continue this series. I think, is it like Chestnut Springs that's the really popular one? I think I'm just gonna go to that and read that and see what I think, and then go from there, because I know she's gonna be super popular there. So I'm like, if I'm not really vibing, I'm probably just gonna leave her books because I'm sure she's gonna get like heaps of support, and I'd rather focus on these other authors that may not get as much support at the event. And that is it. I think I did read like Dark Fae Rises or something. I'm not really gonna talk about it because I just barely remember it, and I think I need to reread it or just like leave it, and I think I'm just gonna leave it. I just didn't really enjoy this, to be honest. I can barely remember what it's about. I think it just blurred together with all of the other things I was reading, and it just didn't really stand up, unfortunately. So I think I'm just not gonna read more from this author, or I'll go back to them later when I have more time. But for now, they're definitely not a priority, unfortunately. But that's just like how it is. There's so many authors, like I can't read a bunch from everybody. I just have to pick the ones that I really vibe with. So that's my reading. So I guess if I look over what I read, like what books am I thinking of taking to get signed? I don't think any of these. Again, I finished a book last night that I'm definitely taking, that I'm super excited about. Can't wait to talk about it next month. But yeah, like I feel like none of these, I'm certain. I kind of want to take better notes to get signed because it was just so hilarious, and I like really want to meet the author. Like authors, I'm like, they're probably like amazing people. Like I love the way that their minds work. Yeah, but aside from that, like I don't know, to be honest. Like it's gonna have to be a case of reading more by these authors. So yeah, kind of like mid-month, but again, next month is so much better so far. So yeah, I guess I will see you next month when I chat about what I read in February for Babe, and we'll start hopefully getting more of an idea of books that I'm gonna take, authors I want to see. I might make like a graphic of authors that I want to see. Like some of these authors I do want to meet. I just don't know if this is the book I'm going to be taking with me. Thanks for hanging out. I guess let me know in the comments what you read, during January? Are you going to BABE? What have you read for BABE? Do you read these sort of books? Do you enjoy them but also think they're ridiculous? Like, let me know. Thanks for hanging out, and I will chat with you in the next video. Hopefully I don't disappear again, but fingers crossed I'm like back into a schedule. So I'll see you then. Bye.